Joshua Wynder is one of the top U.S. men's national team or U.S. youth national team prospects. The center back is currently the captain of the U19s. He starts for Louisville City in USL at age 17. And today we have here on the channel the man himself for an exclusive interview. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to another interview. But today will be a little bit different. It'll be an interview/conversation because we will also be joined by Marcus O'Malley from Chasing a Cup. Okay, I'm putting Marcus's website on the description. Go check it out. Great soccer content, great work that Marcus does, and also his YouTube channel. Go check that out as well. With that said, everyone, don't forget to hit the like button because I said so. And if you don't do it, there's nothing I can do about it, so it doesn't really matter. And I won't be asking during the interview. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So let's play the intro and let's bring in Josh and Marcus. Okay, we're back here on the channel with Marcus, that many of you might be familiar with already from Chasing a Cup. Also got his YouTube channel. Link is on description. And Josh Wynder, the center back from Louisville City and a U.S. Youth National Team player as well. So first, Marcus, welcome.
Appreciate it, man. Glad to be on.
And Joshua, welcome as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so for the first time here on the channel, instead of doing a player interview, we wanted to do more of like a talk, a hangout, right? With obviously the main goal of this being to get to know Josh better, and for U.S. men's national team fans to get to know him better, because I mean, there's only so much information we have. Know you more on a personal level and professional level as well. I wanted to go right away in the conversation, and first, before I go into your background, how you started playing soccer, why don't we talk a little bit about Louisville City right now? That way, Marcus can be involved and both of you can talk about it at the same time. So why don't we start this? First, how's the season going?
No, it's going well. We are in first in our division. We have ups and downs throughout the season, but yeah, it's going pretty well.
And Marcus, one question here. Joshua, starting center back, how has been his performances? And feel free to say whatever you want. You're not going to get in trouble.
So I will say, I mean, number one defense in the league. Josh has been out with an injury, and it's been a little bumpy road. We lost this past week, last night, and so definitely looking to get Wynder back. He's been phenomenal, calm on the ball, very athletic for such a young guy. He fits very comfortably in a championship, top level USL club. I mean, they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals every year they've existed for 8 years. They're in first place now with a pretty decent gap and beat their top rival, Tampa Bay, just a week and a half ago. And Josh's been a key part of that defense being number one.
I'm right next to Tampa here in Orlando, a couple 45 minutes away, I think, roughly. But going back to that, and Louisville City, the team that Jonathan Gomez that went to Real Sociedad last season was playing, a very strong USL side. Now, Joshua, so why don't we go back to the past for a little bit? Because I always ask this when I talk to young players here on the channel. Because I grew up in Brazil, and in Brazil, most kids just play soccer. But in the U.S., we have so many different sports that you can go with. And anyone that has athletic talent or just talent for sports in general has so many sports to pick from, right? When did you start, and why did you start playing soccer?
So I started when I was about 4 or 5, and me and my brothers had all played baseball, but then my oldest brother made the jump to soccer and tried it out and enjoyed it, and then me and Elijah kind of just followed him to soccer.
Mm-hmm. And did you start playing rec? When did you join an academy? When did it get competitive for you? Because obviously when you were 4, it was just all for fun. You're starting 5, 6, 7. That's all for fun. What's your memory of when did you actually get into it? Because now you're a professional player.
Yeah, I think around 10 was when it got a little bit more competitive. I played for Ohio League Kentucky. It's not like a DA or anything, but it was like the highest level I could be at in Louisville. And then when the academy started up for Louisville City, I joined them and then started training with the first team. And that's when everything kind of kicked off,
So how did they find you?
Mario Sanchez, he's the academy director. He had lived here and then moved to St. Louis and then moved back. and he started up the academy when he moved back, and like we were still like pretty close. So he basically pulled me into the academy, and then that's where it all started.
Did Elijah go first? Your brother is on the team as well, Filippo, center midfielder.
Really? How old is
Yeah,
Elijah?
he's 19.
19, so just a bit older too. And he's a starting midfielder too?
He's working his way up.
Working his way up?
Yeah, he had an injury for last year, and then he was on loan to start the season. And now he's been back in the lineup on the bench, so he's knocking on the door.
Marcus, this might be a question more towards you. Like they recruited and found Joshua, obviously, Louisville City, because you didn't go there when you're 10, right? Yeah. Wait, what age exactly did you arrive in Louisville City?
Maybe 15.
15, so much older. You already had a good amount of years playing soccer already.
Yes.
Marcus, how would you talk about this? Because I think it's very important to talk to the viewers about how the growth of soccer in the United States, it's really not just MLS. USL needs to and has been doing a great job too. And they have been doing, but they can definitely do a better job overall. There's a few clubs here and there that do a better job. How much do you know about Louisville City's recruiting process, their academy? What is the work they're doing there?
Yeah, I think they're uniquely positioned. I mean, they're really USL's like crowning jewel, right? I mean, they've invested heavily. Their stadium's gotten international recognition. Obviously, Jogo, coming there was a huge marketing play. But the league has really done a good job, in my opinion, differentiating. And now, MLS is starting to start some of the kids. But to go down to...
Hold on. Let me just... So no one takes you out of context. He didn't say Jogo was a marketing signing. Just to make that...
Fair enough.
They used it to market as well, but he was a starter and a great player. But go ahead. Sorry.
No. He was a starter, great player. He went to play against adults. He didn't want to do MLS Next Pro, play a bunch of kids, and I think Josh is getting the same experience playing against 30-year-old professional players in that environment against grown men. I think, arguably better experience and preparation for Europe. Clearly Europe is not afraid to fish in the USL pond. I'm trying to remember who else. Jose Gallegos went over to the Danish Superliga. Kobe Henry, where did he go?
France to Reims.
Yep. Aaron Cervantes, also a keeper at Rangers in Scotland, another USL guy. And your boy, Luna came from USL before going to Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
And so I think they are developing young talent on their own. I think they're in unique markets. Being a New York Red Bull 2, trying to work within the New York space is one thing, but to draw fans, to get excitement, I think Louisville is uniquely positioned in that this is basically the club, the professional team in town.
I will make it to a game.
I
will make it to a game, I promise. It's just that with the World Cup coverage coming up, it's a little hectic for me right now. But overall, one thing I wanted to ask you too, Josh, because we're still on your youth years, right? Not the professional years yet. And I'm not going to leak your email. Don't worry. I'm not going to leak your email so anyone can email you. But one thing caught my attention. Your email has futsal on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that just because, or did you play futsal at some point?
No, yeah. I played futsal for like 4 years, and we actually won the national championship a couple of times and went to Worlds and came in second. So futsal was like the fun side of it, I would say.
Was that a big part of your development then?
No, yeah, I really think it helped me with like my technical ability and just like thinking quickly, because like on those courts, it's a small court with 5 people, so you got to play fast.
So you had 4 years of futsal development before you went to Louisville City.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you this too, because this is one thing people question me sometimes when I talk about it, and I don't think it's that rough. I think players can adjust. How hard was it to adjust from futsal to field?
I don't think it's like very hard. I think it's just the ball is different. That's really the only thing that you have to worry about. But I don't think it's that much of a difference, especially when you're playing it like in the off season or whenever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, futsal time and space are compressed. It's a little bit harder. You have to be more technical, so you can easily translate that. I guess maybe conditioning might be something.
Yeah, no, that's another big part.
Yeah. So before we move on here, because I want to talk about USL and MLS again, Marcus, is there a lot of futsal going on there or no?
I don't know if there's a lot, but there's a league here in Louisville. University of Louisville is, one of the top 25 typically in the country in college. So there's a good draw there. You've got futsal. Louisville City has built some futsal courts here in the area. So it's definitely coming. There's Josh, like 7, 8 academies in the area. So there's a couple futsal courts around and a couple academies. Javanon, one of those that's been recognized by MLS as one of the best in the country outside of MLS.
Mm-hmm. That might be one of the reasons why he's comfortable on the ball.
It's true.
Yeah.
So Josh, a question for you here. You are in USL as a starting center back. Probably, I don't know if you can even talk about this. You might have had offers from MLS or had interest, or was going to USL more of your choice? Did you ever have an MLS opportunity and you picked to stay in USL? What's up with that?
I had opportunities like to go to a DA when DA was still a thing, but Mario Sanchez kind of like not talked me out of it, but showed me that there would be a clear path from the academy to professional level. And when my brother did it, Elijah, a couple years before me, I think that's when I like locked in on like trying to follow him and saw the clear path. And then when Jonathan Gomez went to Europe, I was like, okay, like that's another thing that could happen, you know?
Mm-hmm. Is it a goal of yours to go to Europe at an early age, or would you like to develop more in the United States beforehand? Or it's pretty much just if an opportunity comes up, you're ready for it?
I'd say I'm just ready for any opportunity, but I think my dream is to go to Europe as soon as possible. So hopefully next summer or whenever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be gone, dude.
He'll be gone.
He'll be
Is
gone.
there some information you two are hiding from me?
Nah.
No, so I don't know how much you, and again, talk about as much as you're allowed to, without mentioning clubs, obviously, because I know that would get you in trouble. But has there been contact from clubs abroad, interest at least?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I told my agent to kind of keep that away from me until the end of the season. Then we can talk about it, because I'm trying to just focus on like playing every minute I can, like continuing to perform for the rest of the season, you know?
No distractions.
Exactly.
Besides those shoes there in the background, we even joked about that, right? You're trying to, is that a way to try to get Greg Berhalter to give you a call?
I didn't think about it, to be honest.
Are you a shoe guy?
I am. I'm a big sneakerhead.
Sneakerhead? Look, hey, Marcus, think him and Greg would get along?
I think so. How's your bounce passing?
It needs some work.
Well, then you might get along with him even better. He'll be happy to help you. But going on here, so we touched upon briefly on your future goals of, yes, you are ready for, if a challenge in Europe comes up and you feel like it's the right club, you're ready to go when you're ready to go. I believe you can only go when you're 18, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because you need a EU passport. But moving on from that, what I wanted to go here too is, Marcus, go to you real quick, because I still want to stay in this topic for a little bit longer. Is Louisville City a club that facilitates that?
How do you mean facilitates going to Europe?
For example, MLS, there are clubs that it's a little bit harder to go abroad. They might charge a big fee, or they might just try to keep you. And we see that in some clubs that facilitate it. We can even get into examples of players that got kind of stuck in MLS and players that the club really did a great job on doing what the player wanted. Is Louisville City a club that's more towards facilitating, or they kind of want to keep their guys right now?
Yeah, I'll say, we don't have a ton of experience yet. Next summer, I think we'll have a little bit more. But Jogo, I think their vision was, they knew he wanted to get to Europe, and so they had a plan to get him into the first team so that he could get experience, playing against grown men and be part of that preparation funnel. I think the same for Josh. It seems like, and Josh, you've got a number of teammates that are teenagers that are getting opportunity. I think even with that championship mentality, they have a win first mentality. They do want to develop players. I think they have a vision of being a selling league in the future, a selling club. I think they have big aspirations for that. And so I think they definitely want to facilitate relationships with Europe and be a funnel. And I think Louisville City wants to lead the way. I think that's why they've invested so much in their academy.
I mean, they were talking about you as the American Van Dyke in Sky Sports, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know where that came from.
Wait, who was it again, Marcus? You showed me. It was
It's the technical director, or the it's a sporting director for USL, but he was a technical director at Stoke City.
Hey, you got big shoes to fill right there.
Very big.
It's still not as big as Greg Berhalter saying Reina was Maradona, right? Remember that?
Well, I'll make the case. I mean, I didn't know who Van Dijk was when he was 17 years old. So, Josh is already
Well,
two
he
steps
was
ahead of
in,
it for me.
I think he was in Groningen, the club that Pepe went to.
Okay.
And then he went to Scotland. So
Rangers,
again,
was it? Yeah. Or was
yeah,
it?
again, as a young player at this age, especially center back, takes a while to develop. So getting professional minutes at 17 is amazing. We know center backs take longer to peak, at least more than forwards and midfielders. Usually it takes longer to develop. So it's a tough position. Can't make many mistakes. You'll need to know how to use your body better to physically impose yourself. But going to the probably the last topic I want to dive into that's mostly focused on you, Josh. It's you were just called in for the youth national team, right? Was that your first call up for the United States?
Yeah, this year was my first call up.
How did it go?
No, it was an amazing experience. Like, that was my first time really being around kids my age in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So to see kids my age, but have them, they had the same goals as me, Like, they all are either training with the first team MLS, or there's a couple players in USL. So to see them all having the same goals, but being my age and working hard to perform every day was an awesome experience.
And it was the U19s, right?
Yes.
And who was with you that we might know? Do you know Marcus or Josh? Players
Who else?
Players that you were friends with there.
Owen Wolf, he plays for Austin.
Yeah.
He's gotten a couple starts with them. And Correde Osuna, he plays for Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I'm not sure. There's a couple more that.
Yeah. So
and Josh is humble. He was he captained that team, and they beat England, by the way.
Why do you hide this? Why are you hiding information?
I don't know. I just try to stay as humble as possible.
Well, I mean, we got to beat England in November too, right?
Yeah.
If we don't beat England, I could get canceled on Twitter. I talk so much trash to them right now.
I think we got a chance.
I hope we do. I think. Look, again, when you know this better than me and Marcus, you're a professional player. Once the game starts, it's 11 humans versus 11 humans.
Yep.
And you're all playing at professional level. So there is a chance. We're sending a team of players that play in the Premier League, all the top leagues. So there's definitely a chance, but it's definitely a very tough opponent. But they choke, and they have Harry Maguire. And I know you can't make fun of Harry Maguire because you're a player now. So you can't. Probably 2 years ago, you were allowed to troll some of the players. But right now,
for sure,
Harry Maguire is just with me and Marcus. But in this camp, you guys, you were a captain for the team. You were the captain. And you guys played England, and who else, or just England?
We played Norway, too.
Norway. What was the score of those games? How did it go?
We beat England 2-1, and then beat Norway, I think, 5-0.
Something like that. I can't remember the final. Yeah.
I think it was 5 or 6-0.
Good results right there.
Yeah, the England game, we went down 1-0 early. And I think everyone was just getting comfortable. That was our first camp. People were still nervous, but we went down 1-0, and then we started it kind of flipped the switch, and then we just started outplaying them by far.
Looking good, right, Marcus?
That's it. Yeah.
And is there? I wanted to ask you too, because you are definitely Olympic age eligible. You're actually. Would you be eligible for the next 2 Olympics? No, the next one just. Then you'll be. I think you might be too old for the 2028 one. You might be 1 year too old.
I think so.
But you are age eligible for the next one, and we're roughly little less than 2 years away, so you'll be around 19. Is that a goal of yours? Do you think it's a realistic goal right now from what you're seeing from the youth ranks?
No, I think that's one of my biggest goals, obviously, besides World Cup or whatever it is, the men's national team. But I think it's not that unrealistic. You never know what can happen in 2 years. 2 years is a long time. I've started to develop pretty quickly, and it hasn't even been a year yet since I've been playing minutes with the first team. So I think it's my biggest goal, honestly.
What about the U20 World Cup next year? Is there any talks about that? Because that one seems overly realistic when you look into the names. you are definitely in the conversation right there. Has there been any talks from Coach Varas or maybe the federation, maybe reaching out slowly, because it's coming up? They have a camp. There's a camp coming up right now. I don't even know if you're called in. If you're called in, you can tell me right now. I know there's a camp coming up.
No, I haven't really heard anything. Like I said, I'm like my agent keeps most of the stuff until like it's about to happen. So I haven't really heard anything, but that is one of my goals is to make it to the 20s World Cup.
And it's also going to be in Bali, Indonesia, a beautiful place. Hey, Marcus, maybe we should make a trip there.
Let's do it, man. Let's do a vlog over there.
Yeah, I think that's mostly what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get maybe Marcus to give his final thoughts on where do you project him in this? And I know I'm putting you in a spot that you're literally talking about Josh in front of Josh, but just be open about it.
Yeah.
Where do you project? Do you think he is a player that might be in the U20 World Cup? Olympics, I know it might be too far to project ahead. It's 2 years and it's U23, so there's more players available, right?
Yeah.
U20, we have less. But we just saw the U20 CONCACAF Championship. We just watched it. Brendan Craig played, Jalen Neal, Marcus Ferkranos, and was there anyone else? I think there was just 3.
Was it just 3? That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just 3. So putting him there is very realistic. You'd probably be competing with them 3.
Yep.
Justin Che, I guess, would be another one that would be competing. And then when you look at the U20 level, these look like our main options right now. Kobe Henry would also be battling it out there too. What are your thoughts there, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, I think today, no question, the challenge is going to be Josh is probably going to move to a new club, so finding the right fit in the summer and getting up to first team minutes and that kind of thing. That's probably
him out of Louisville City.
Well, he's gonna add a star this winter, get us one more championship, and so he can leave as long as he gets us a championship. Otherwise, but I do think obviously that's gonna be tough. Transitioning to a new club, most likely in Europe, probably a pretty solid club. So that's probably gonna be your biggest challenge, right? Like trying to break in and get minutes versus guys like who may be starting with their MLS club or whatever. It'll probably depend on the coach and where they bring them in. But you don't bring in a 17-year-old and put the captain's armband on for nothing. I think from a talent and ceiling perspective, I'd say no question. Top of the class. All the potential is there, but got to put in the work. Got to find the right fit, right club. And break in. So timing, I think, is going to be key of getting signed and getting fit in with that new club.
So even though Josh didn't confirm anything, Louisville City didn't confirm anything, his agent didn't confirm anything, Marcus pretty much confirmed that Josh is going to Europe next summer.
I feel confident.
To the bare minimum now, you have to at least go there for like vacation. Otherwise, you'll be wrong.
Go visit Jogo.
I'll for sure go visit.
Yeah. So, by the way, I saw that you turned 18 in May of 2023. Sorry, 2023. So therefore, next summer, you would be eligible, obviously, to make a move anywhere as long as there's offers. It's the right club, and Louisville City accepts the offer. So when is your contract with Louisville City? Do we know?
When does it end?
Yeah.
What's the day after his birthday? What's the day after his birthday?
I think it's 2 more years and then an option.
Yeah, they'll get a transfer fee just like they got with Jogo too, which is what the clubs need to get that money and reinvest. Marcus, Joshua, thank you very much for coming along. Marcus, you're obviously welcome to be here anytime. And Josh, if you win the U20 World Cup or the Olympics, come back here.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me on, man.